Prime Minister says LNG royalties are safe. New leadership program designed to transform young men. And Taekwondo PNG prepares for qualifiers for Rio Olympics.
This is National EMTV News with Mary Bartolo.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for Saturday's news. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has reiterated his government's commitment in meeting state commitments under the PNG LNG project agreements. He reassured the member for Koroba Lake Kopiago, Philip Undialu, that all landowner royalties are safeguarded in a trust account held at the central bank. Prime Minister O'Neill made these remarks after being questioned in Parliament over delays in royalty payments and outstanding business development grants and MOA projects.
The question on when royalty payments for PNG LNG landowners cease to be dispersed was raised again, and this time it was in Parliament yesterday by member for Koroba Lake Kopiago. Philip Undialu asked the Prime Minister if he was aware of several petitions by ITES landowners from Como.
That the issue stamped up when 100 containers shipment has been made. There's no indication from the national government as to when the equity and royalty will be paid.
He also questioned the Prime Minister on how much was held by the government. The member also wanted to know what has become of the outstanding 19 million Kina business development grant and MOA projects outstanding.
Soon the government will complete that process. In the process, that process is going on. How much in monetary terms, equity and royalty, does the government hold in trust?
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill reassured the member and also landowners that all payments will be made once every outstanding court issues are resolved.
Every export of the LNG brings in a revenue, and part of that revenue includes royalties and equity, which are due to the landowners. That is parked immediately in the trust account so that none of the agencies of government or anyone else is managing it outside of the trust account itself. Mr. Speaker, until such time we resolve all those issues between the landowners of various factions, no funds will be distributed until every issue is resolved to the satisfaction of all parties.
The Prime Minister announced that he will be visiting the islands in the coming weeks, and part of his visit will be to launch the Como to Tari Road, which comes under the MOA project agreement. This visit will also coincide with a groundbreaking ceremony to kickstart the rehabilitation of the island's highway. Michelle Amba, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister O'Neill has assured all landowners that any future payments will be made in project areas and not in Port Moresby. He said the government has realized that previous payments have ended up in the wrong hands and these mistakes will not be repeated again.
No payments made in Port Moresby. Every check will be issued on site at the project area so that the landowners can see that government is delivering. We have had experience, Mr. Speaker, of many misuse and abuse of funds that is rightfully belongs to the landowners.
A team from the Bogia district and Madang provincial headquarters are on their way to Manam Island to assess damage caused by a minor volcanic eruption yesterday. Just before midday, Manam erupted, throwing up rocks and ash. A 17-year-old boy was injured by the falling rocks and was admitted at the Bogia Health Care Centre late yesterday. This is the first eruption since 2004. The other major eruption happened in 1996, forcing more than 2,000 people to move into care centres on the Madang mainland. The newly renovated National Court complex in Lae is expected to enhance judiciary services in the province. The facility upgrade took place over the last 2 months. Chief Justice Salamo India officially opened the building this week in front of Lae's legal fraternity and other invited delegates. During his speech, the Chief Justice described the old court building in Lae as a fire hazard and an eyesore.
This Lae Courthouse complex has been in existence for over 20 years. Yesterday marked the official opening of the newly renovated building after much of its buildings and facilities deteriorated over time. Chief Justice Sir Salamo Injia, during his speech yesterday, said the judiciary requires complete funding allocations from the government for its infrastructure development plans.
Of course, it's required us to inject funds, and we have injected funds to the tune of around 2 million kina to upgrade the national court side of this court facility.
Some of these buildings share facilities with the higher and lower courts. The building renovation had cost the judiciary 2 million kina. Other dignitaries also present at the event, including Morobe Governor Kelly Naru, said the refurbished courtrooms and offices will greatly assist the efforts put by lawyers, magistrates and judges to continue to maintain justice amongst people within the province.
It's a very old facility, and obviously it's not adequate to meet the requirements of the courts, that is both the national and the Supreme Court as well as the district courts. So we are planning to move to a new location situated at the old airport site.
The new look office complex depicts an efficient and effective responsibility that lies ahead for judicial services within Morobe. Meanwhile, the judiciary is awaiting Lands Department to approve occupancy on a designated land in Lae before it begins construction of a new regional court complex in the next 2 years. Colin Barilai, National MTV News, Lae.
You're watching National MTV News. After the break, Trukai introduces new systems to address fire problems in Lae. That and more coming up. Welcome back to the news. An exciting new leadership program called Real Men, Real Talk was launched today. Real Men, Real Talk is a program designed to transform young men into leaders for social change in Papua New Guinea.
Real Men, Real Talk was launched today at the American Corner here at the National Library in Port Moresby. It's an initiative of warrior culture supported by the U.S. Embassy to empower men in these critical changing times. Founder of Warrior Culture, Eddie Ayla, explained that the program is relevant in the current times,
especially in this transitional period where women are becoming, understanding their rights more, and the traditional male in Papua New Guinea doesn't know where they fit in. How do I adjust to this new thinking? Real Men, Real Talk is about men discussing real issues that affect us, that in society, in Papua New Guinea society, we don't usually talk about. Issues that when we don't talk about them, we bottle them up as males, and then they result in family violence and other negative behavior.
U.S. Ambassador to PNG Walter North launched the program.
We have to be open to recognizing that our history, our legacy, our tradition is a gift, and there are aspects of that gift which we should cherish, but we should also not be afraid to use reason to question about certain aspects of that experience if they don't make sense and they don't work to help us in our mission to achieve a more just, inclusive, sustainable and transparent economic growth path for Papua New Guinea.
The program will run for 5 months. It started today with 32 young men between the ages of 17 and 30 years selected through a careful process.
We want to teach these men not only what family violence is, but how to empower themselves individually, how to interact with others, and give them professional business skills so that when they walk away, they become empowered, fearless advocates of change.
Mr. Ayla thanked the U.S. Embassy in Port Moresby for its support and also extended the invitation to the government and other sectors for their support of this important program. Deli Waigeno, National MTV News.
Papua New Guinean rice manufacturing giant Trukai Industries commissioned a state-of-the-art fire system in Lae yesterday. Trukai CEO Greg Worthington Eyre says the fire system was installed after the spate of fires in Lae over the last 2 years. Lae business houses have become prone to fires, with the national government saying it will work towards fixing the fire service.
The rice manufacturing company can lose millions of kina worth of property and lives if a fire started in its facility. Having this in mind, the company has invested in this fire system commissioned today with the Lay Fire Service.
You know, we have a big investment here and we want to protect it, and more importantly, we want to protect our people. So what we've done is invested heavily in a fire system, a high-pressure fire system that covers the entire site.
Trukai CEO Greg Worthington says a recent fire that happened at the Brian Bell Home Centre next door forced them to invest in the fire system.
Safety systems is an extension of that. It's one of the best fire protection systems in Lay, if not PNG.
There has been 16 fires in the last 2 years that has destroyed Lay businesses worth in the millions, including Brian Bell and Pelgens. The fire risks have forced businesses like Papindo to invest in their own fire trucks. The 1.7 million kina fire system comes from an Australian contractor who specializes in building this system. This publicized commissioning comes after the Prime Minister, Peter O'Neill, in August last year, said the PNG government would improve the fire service.
We are going to increase the number of equipments that they've got, training that they have, so that we can respond to many of these emergencies on a timely basis.
Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Lay.
The Papua New Guinea Defence Force is ready to deliver one of the country's corridors, the Medang to Baya Road. More than 100 kilometers have been completed, with another 73 kilometers to go before this missing link is finally connected. A delegation from the Papua New Guinea Defence Force, National Planning, Finance and Treasury departments flew into the area to inspect the progress of the project. The team was led by PNG DF's Engineering Battalion Commander, Lieutenant Colonel John Gire.
The Papua New Guinea Defence Force engineering team has pushed this national government project 51 kilometers out of Mount Agen and are now working on the next 14 kilometers towards Jimmy River. While this is happening, on the Medang side of the road, another team of engineers are working on a 9-kilometer road nearing Ramu River. With only 73 kilometers before completion, this important economic corridor is one of the major road projects that the PNG DF Engineering Unit is spearheading. The visiting delegation met with locals on the buyer's side to explain the importance of this network and how it will change their lives.
That's why you cooperate now. You work one time, Then it's come up place. So I'm like introducing more big money. I come here.
Locals on both sides are already using the road, even public motor vehicles. Other projects include the Bogia to Wewak and Popondetta to Port Moresby roads. Michelle Amba, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. Trukai Sports is next. PNG Taekwondo gears up for the Rio Olympics. That and more when we return.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. To Taekwondo first, the Oceania qualifiers for the Rio Olympics will be held in Port Moresby in February 2016. And head coach for Taekwondo PNG, Andreas Rutten, believes home ground advantage will be a decisive factor. Team PNG is already preparing its fighters.
Utilizing the world-class facilities provided, Rutten believes that with the right support, PNG's Taekwondo team will have the opportunity to perform to expectation.
Very important, the development and the progress until then, that we pick the right team, get the right support from the government, from the Olympic Federation, that we get enough funding to really developing a team.
Australian fighters will be part of the contingent travelling for the Oceania titles, which will be hosted in Port Moresby. And the hope is that with some of these fighters having already qualified for the Olympics and with the exclusion of the French territories in the Pacific, Papua New Guinea will bode well.
For us going into the game, we are up on the top. We are very, very confident. We showed that we, against stronger countries like Solomon Islands or Vanuatu, we got the upper hand. No, it's...
In the Pacific Games, the team collected silver medals in the team events and gold individually, with the country's brightest talent undoubtedly being reigned in.
We went down, only lost by 5 points on the end. It was a little bit upsetting, but I must say to the performance of the team in what they were against a strong team from Tahiti, I think they've done extremely well. I think the silver is more worth than actually we think it is, you know. So I'm very proud of the guys. I think they've done a terrific job.
Jeremy Moggy, National, EMTV Sports.
The Tauranga Valley Volleyball competition today saw round 12 of their knockout matches. The competition is in its first year with 40 participating teams, both in the male and female divisions. President Ignatius Simaila says the competition is being used as a tool for development. Godwin Eki reports.
Earlier this year, up to 40 participating teams took part in the competition for both male and female, but the competition saw the numbers drop in their knockout matches. The match saw Pools A and B for the men's with 16 teams compete for the top 8 positions and Pool A for the women all playing for the top 4 spot. In 2 of the competition in the men's division, the game between Tura in yellow and Bale Mates in blue saw Bale Mates take victory winning 3 sets, and in the women's, Visigo also won 3 sets against KB Mates. Also involved in the competition saw some national players that assisted the youths in the games. President Ignatius Simaila stressed on the issues and challenges faced by the youths in the community and how he has used sports as a tool to bring the youths together.
Thinking of taking 2 teams out to NCDC, so this association will be my feeder club for 2 teams going out there, 2 teams for men's and 2 teams for women. And the purpose of this game is to reduce drinking and drugs and bring all the community together.
This competition is good because we blow mangilia, we blow no blow one blow part blow Papua New Guinea. This old man come by him ground na settle lea, one blow leader one blow usim head blow him na running this competition. So good blow running competition because plenty of mangi come start lea, also drug number na drink spark na fight na melo mi play. So time this competition come up, sem carry mi blow kada mangi lot Tauranga.
Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
To the NRL now, and the Sydney Roosters have denied Canterbury Bulldogs what would have been one of the biggest comebacks in the club's history. The Roosters sealed the victory 38-28 in an absolute thriller.
The Roosters stormed out confident after having conceded 6 straight wins. That proved to be as Daniel Tupou scored a double, with his first try coming in the opening 5 minutes of the match. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck and Michael Jennings also contributing to the scoreboard. The Bulldogs seemed done and dusted after the Roosters were sitting comfortably in a 22-0 lead. Roosters' 6 straight penalties saw the Bulldogs race back into the contest to score 3 tries. First try coming from young Sean Lane, diving on a Moses Mbai grubber kick. The second came from Josh Morris, and the third came from Corey Thompson, who slammed one in the corner. The Dogs began to dominate momentum, going into halftime with the scores at 22-16. In the second half, Bulldogs kept dominating to see Trent Hodkinson cross over to level the scores. They finally took the lead when Thompson scored his second try. The Roosters fought their way back with tries coming from Blake Ferguson, Michael Jennings and bench utility Jackson Hastings to seal the victory for the Roosters 38-28. In other matches, the West Tigers caused the biggest upset of the season after defeating the Melbourne Storms 34-16. Elijah Levette, National EMTV Sports.
And that's all we have for Trukai Sports tonight. Up next, the weather details. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
And here's a look at the weather forecasts. In the southern region, all centers fine. Momasa region, all centers mostly fine except for Vanimo. You can expect a few thundery showers. To the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, you can expect brief showers, mostly fine for Kavieng, Kokopo and Rabaul, mostly fine as well for Buka, and fine weather in Kimbe. And in the Highlands region, all centers to expect cloudy weather over the next 24 hours. And that has been the news, sports and weather for today, Saturday, the 1st of August 2015 from the EMTV News team. Thanks for your company. Good night.